In a room filled with the scent of old paper and the hum of a vintage slide projector, Leo sat across from his uncle Silas. Silas had spent the 1970s and 80s at NASA, surrounded by equations that mapped the stars. Leo fidgeted with a small silver model of a lunar module, his brow furrowed. "Uncle Silas," Leo whispered, "I saw a video online. Some people say we never actually went. They say it was all filmed on a stage. Was the moon landing real?"
Silas didn't laugh. He took off his thick glasses and cleaned them with a silk cloth. He looked at the moon through the window, a bright coin hanging in the evening sky. "Leo," he said softly, "I spent half my life calculating the trajectories of those missions. Physics doesn't lie, but I understand why it feels like a dream. It was the hardest thing humanity ever did." Leo looked at the blueprints spread out on the table. They were covered in handwritten notes and complex geometric shapes. "But couldn't they have just built a movie set?" Leo asked. "With enough lights and a good director, couldn't they make it look like space? It seems easier than building a giant rocket that actually works." Silas shook his head and pulled out a grainy photograph of a massive hangar. "Think about the numbers, Leo. To go to the moon, we needed 400,000 people. Engineers, seamstresses, cooks, and mathematicians. Everyone had a part of the puzzle. To fake it, you would have to convince every single one of those people to keep a secret for 50 years. In physics, we know that the more parts a system has, the more likely it is to break. A secret that big is a very fragile system." Leo traced the path of a drawn rocket on a chalkboard. "What about the flag?" he asked, remembering the video. "It looked like it was waving in the wind. There isn't any wind on the moon, right?" He looked at Silas, hoping for a simple answer that made sense of the confusion. Silas stood up and walked to a shelf, picking up a heavy metal rod. "The flag didn't have wind, Leo. It had a horizontal bar across the top to hold it out. But when the astronauts hammered it into the ground, the pole vibrated. In a vacuum, there's no air to slow that vibration down. It kept moving because there was nothing to stop it. We didn't